that brave their voices, female Shankai. The storytellers of Ireland were almost always men, a thing well known and well insured. When the bravest women stepped forward to bare their hearts, they were often shot down. Being compared to day-long crows and dry humorists, women were not encouraged to tell their stories. Not many were, at least. County Kerry seems to have experienced some form of exception with the well-known and revered Peg Sayers. She is a special case as she lived in the isolated Blasket Island chain, where women were just as valued as the men. Peg spoke of folk tales, fables, myths, legends, biblical verse, and more beside her tiny home's fireplace. She was illiterate, but bilingual, speaking fluently both Irish and English. With the help of her son and the acknowledgement of the GAA, Peg became a common name in the storytelling world. Her biography has sold many copies in multiple languages.
While men did the storytelling in the house, women still played their parts. A lot of the times, women would interrupt or correct the men as they told the story. Women knew the stories as well and sometimes could be more detailed than the men telling the story. Some men did not mind this or were accustomed to it. Women did occasionally get the spotlight and tell the stories, but only in an audience of all women. In all female situations, women were free to tell any and all stories they wanted. This was a way for women to kill boredom while sewing or working on other household chores. This was how the younger girls were able to learn the stories even though they were never properly taught them. Another interesting point is made that women were often seen as muses for the stories. A lot of characters in Irish folklore are female: fairies, banshee, mermaids, and so on. They inspired different ideas and themes, yet they could not participate in the telling of these stories. According to Elizabeth Butler Cullingford in her article Thinking of Her as Ireland, she talks about how seeing the land as a her has in turn projected a sense of possession on women. They see the land as something they can own, so by using women as a muse, they are in a way taking away a woman's power. She is now just a tool. So how can a tool tell a story? According to Linda Day, women are natural storytellers. They have a very diverse range of narratives that they can use. They use different tones of voices for children, husbands, family members, friends, and so on. Lyrical stories are much more suitable for women to narrate than for a man.
Contemporary folklorists like Marina Carr, Nuala de Doval, and Christina Reid are known for retorting, "There are no real foremothers of literature in the Irish world." Their view is opposing the idea that Peg Sayers, amongst others, was a storyteller because women were often illiterate and secluded. That begs the question, are poets considered storytellers? And if so, why are there so few women who were considered this from previous eras? There are not as many resources readily available about women storytellers as there are of men. Women were the singers, keeners, and meant to use their voices to mourn and celebrate, but not to entertain. Women were seen in society as the more emotional and compassionate gender, so storytelling was meant to be fun and entertaining. Some themes in the stories were seen as inappropriate for women to talk about. There are very specific roles women are meant to play, and storytelling was not one of them.
We got into contact with the Irish Folklore Commission. Although they were not able to give us any specific recordings, you can go and listen to the sound archives and view images of the women storytellers at their headquarters in Dublin. The person who I was corresponding with also gave us some more secondary resources to look at for women storytellers. Although there is not much, it still gives a lot of insight as to what it would have been like to be a woman storyteller back during the time of stories.